not only realizing that we could be living in a simulation, in a simulated universe, but remembering, having that constant reminder that we're in a simulation, can give you incredible personal power. And what I mean by this is there are so many things in life that we worry about. We're constantly anxious about the consequences of things, like it's kind of the be all and end all and the world's going to end. And also there are many things that a lot of us want to do or want to achieve or want to manifest into our lives. But again, we're worried about the consequences. We're worried about what other people might think of us. We're worried about looking stupid in front of other people, being ridiculed. But if you think about it, if we really are in a simulation, which is effectively like being in a huge computer game with what could be non-player characters. So, have you ever had conversations with people and you have a feeling what they're going to say next, or you have conversations that feel like other conversations that you've had many times before? Is it that you are the only character? There's a theory, I think it's called synopsism. I'm gonna have fun trying to spell that later, where you could actually be the only real person and everyone else is simply a character. Now, interestingly, did you know that after things like fear of heights, spiders, flying, I saw the other day that the number 4 most common phobia is public speaking, standing up in front of people. And I think it's that fear of forgetting what you're going to say, or in my case, if I get nervous, my cheeks go very red, or I get that kind of instant bead of sweat on my head. But think about it, if the other people that are in your simulation are not actually real, then how can you be embarrassed about that? How can you worry about that if effectively that's like being embarrassed in front of yourself? It's like if you get undressed in front of the mirror, you're not embarrassed in that respect, are you? It's not like because no one else can see you. It's a similar principle. And once you really start to embrace this, you realize that when you look at people that are successful, there's a saying, fortune favors the brave. That is because people that are successful, they don't actually care. They don't care about other people's opinions. And that's why I think it's a bit funny sometimes when I see people slating people that are successful and, they don't care about this, and they should do this, and all this sort of business. I hate to say it, but they don't care about that. That's why they've got to where they have, because sometimes you just have to listen to yourself and you have to take risks and not worry about the consequences. And anyway, we're all here for a finite amount of time, and I'm not going to talk about reincarnation, all that kind of stuff, what happens when you die in the simulation. They've actually got videos on that. And by the way, please hit like if you enjoy this video, if you get anything out of it, and subscribe. And ask me any questions in the comments. I love to hear your stories and your comments because it gives me something to feed off of, and sometimes I do videos on the comments that you've made and things that I've never thought of before, which I always find very interesting. But it's all about just putting yourself out there, because if you want to manifest something, then the best way of doing it is taking those steps. If for example, if public speaking is something that you're afraid of, then there are local clubs. I think it's called the Toastmasters in the UK. I don't know if you have it in the US or other places, but there are clubs where you can go and practice doing public speaking and doing speeches. And to be honest with you, the way to combat anything is just through doing it over and over again. If you think about anything that you did for the first time, it's never going to be perfect. If any of you are creating YouTube videos or creating anything, the first ones are normally quite horrible. It's like somebody who's a master at making something out of pottery. You can guarantee the first one's going to be an absolute mess. But the key is not worrying about the consequences, because we could be the only person, you could be the only person, I could just be a non-player character in your story. You could be the only real person in this reality. So why worry about other people, what they say? And so what if they ridicule you, or if they, if they're a true friend, then they wouldn't say bad stuff about you anyway, and say things behind your back. Sometimes you need to do what you need to do, and then you will attract the right sort of people, like-minded people. So I hope that was helpful to you. Thanks for watching as usual. Take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.